Our Director of Ceremonies, Vice President, Honorable General Retired Dr. Sijirian Chwenga. Vice President Colonel Retired KCD Mohadi in absentia. Our Minister of Defense, Honorable Osizet Mchinguri Kashiri. The Minister of State for Harare Metropolitan Province, Honorable Charles Tawengwa. Minister of National Housing and Social Amenities, Honorable Soda. Other ministers and deputy ministers who are here. The Chief Secretary to the President Cabinet, the Secretary for Defense, Comrade Nepera, Commander Zimbabwe Defense Forces, P.V. Swanda, Commander Zimbabwe National Army, Lieutenant General Sanyatwe, Commander Air Force of Zimbabwe Air Marshal J.J. Jede, Commissioner General of Zimbabwe Republic Police, Commissioner General G.T. Matanga, Commissioner General of Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service, Commissioner General Chihovu, the Director General, President Department, Ambassador Isaac Moyo, the Mayor of the City of Harare, His Worship Councillor J. Mafume, General and Air Officers who are here, senior government officials who are here, comrades and friends. It is my singular honor and privilege to grace this occasion to commission and hand over houses constructed under the Dzivaresekwa and the Mbizo Barracks Institutional Accommodation Project. In line with the Vision 2030, the Second Republic, under my leadership, is facilitating the provision of housing, Zimba, which is a basic and a fundamental need to human comfort. Hence, today, we celebrate yet another milestone that is more than brick and mortar, but also a show of my government's unwavering commitment to provide modern, safe, and affordable housing for both public sector employees as well as citizens in general. The prioritization of members of the defense forces as they serve advance our national interest as well as defend our independence, our sovereignty, and our territorial integrity of our beloved motherland, Zimbabwe, is of utmost importance to us. Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, providing decent accommodation and safe working spaces are some of the critical enablers for our forces to focus on their primary and the most important contribution towards the modernization, industrialization, and the growth of our economy. I am therefore pleased to hand over houses for occupation and use by the officers, men and women, in uniform and their families. May these facilities be a symbol and a constant reminder of the enduring gratitude, respect, and honor that our nation has for the sacrifices made by our defense forces. The peace, security, and defense of our nation remain fundamental requisites and catalysts for economic transformation, enabling all sectors and the general citizenry to engage in productive economic activities munyika muno runyararo. This is guaranteed by our security sector without having to be distracted by accommodation issues. Ngava wanepo kuvata pakanaka kuti vagotichengeta vasina umwe mweya wa region. This further assures them of higher levels of professional dignity, while inculcating broader military norms and value systems, as well as encouraging greater bonding, unity, and spirit of military camaraderie among all members of the defense forces. In addition, the availability of institutional accommodation is vital for maintaining operational efficiencies, including enabling our national army to coordinate quickly and efficiently and react in cases of emergencies and disasters. Vange vavata pakanaka vanomuka vodzivirira nyika vasina mweya. The Dzivaresekwa and Mbizo barracks institutional accommodation projects are aimed at the construction of a total of 8,430 housing units. Regrettably, the projects were in the past stalled for various reasons and are now moving forward at an increased pace and momentum. I therefore commend the Minister of Defense, the Zimbabwe Defense Forces Construction Regiment, working in conjunction with Broadhaven Construction Company for the success milestones realized to date. Well done, congratulations, Wanabe Zimbabwe. Going into the future, I urge the Ministry of Defense to expand the size of the construction regiment and appropriately equip this strategic unit so that it increases its efficiency and capabilities in the construction field. In addition, the training of service personnel to acquire qualifications, skills, and experience in the various construction and engineering fields should be scaled up. Ultimately, you, as the defense forces, must augment our ongoing public sector construction initiatives. This would in turn enable private contractors to focus on industrial as well as other vital national projects, such as dams, roads, and energy infrastructure, among others. Meanwhile, innovative financing solutions and partnerships must be developed towards supporting as well as speeding up the ongoing and the planned massive construction projects across our barracks. These include accommodation facilities at the Jason Ziapapa Moyo Barracks, Josiah Magama Tongogara Barracks, and 2 Presidential Guards Battalion headquarters, 33 Infantry Battalion in Chipinge, and 13 Infantry Battalion in Plumtree, among others. Comrades and friends, ladies and gentlemen, the quality of the completed houses we are witnessing today attests to the professionalism, ingenuity, and the competency of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces Construction Regiment. Once again, I say to them, well done, Makorokoto. Vazhinji mayangoti masoja ndokugwa vanovaka dzimba dzokuti ukavata muhope dzaonorota dzokurira kuvata. It is pleasing that the Zimbabwe Defense Forces has shifted from conventional brick and mortar houses to a new, cheaper, cleaner, climate smart, and sustainable building technology. The approach must see more houses being speedily constructed, resulting in many more families being accommodated in decent modern houses. I urge stakeholders in the housing and the built environment space to play their part towards accelerating the realization of our national targets. Let us continue to work together towards addressing the housing backlog. Equally, our human settlements must always be accompanied by basic services, including decent roads, recreation facilities, education and health facilities, as well as water and sanitation infrastructure. Competing interests over land and the planning overlays must be ironed out. Urban and rural local authorities are urged to ensure strict compliance to building laws and standards. On its part, my government will continue to facilitate an enabling environment, including advancing legislative and policy measures to enable our citizens to have access to adequate shelter. To date, the capitalization of the Housing Guarantee and National Housing Fund has been considered in the 2025 national budget. Meanwhile, all beneficiaries of the institutional accommodation and accompanying facilities here at Dzivaresekwa, as well as at Imbizo Barracks, must be good stewards over the properties. Vachapinda mudzimba dzavakadzi modzichengeta dzirambe dzakachena. Kana afura madzikwa usapa madziro zviri nane kuisa pashete yako. This includes taking adequate measures to beautify the surrounding environment. Modzvarawo maruva handiti padzimba dzamunogara. Kachipfuura so imba mai varimo ishasha hamene kwavakabvawo, but next one shasha. So oda kuti unzi hamene kwavakabva abudu. The ambience of working and living spaces in all cantonment areas across the country must be deliberately spruced up and where necessary modernized. Kwete kuti zvandakawana imba iri ndodangoisiya sezvandakaiwana. Vanovaka havasi vanodzvara loni. Loni inozodzvabwa nemanozogarapo. Mazviwa hongu. Kana usina mweya wokugadzira pamba paunogara, usamba nomweya kuda kuwana imba. In concluding, let me once again reiterate my government's resolve to build a future where our defense forces are well looked after and adequately equipped to defend our nation, as well as capacitated to realize fulfilling careers. To the officers, men and women of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, including the construction regiment of the army, I thank you all for your hard work and professionalism, which have seen us realize this milestone of decent accommodation and other projects within the defense forces across all our provinces and districts. Well done, our defense forces.